Happy Saturday, everybody. Welcome back. So today's project is we're going to make up some mobile stands to paint my wheels on. I'm going to take some more reclaimed junk, pallet stuff, whatever leftover junk, and make some like A-frame deals to hold the wheels up as they get painted. So I'll check back when I get something thrown together here. There's the stand all together, and I put a wheel on it just to test it out. Make sure it seemed like it would be stable enough and it would work. Works really well, actually. You can easily rotate the wheel to paint it. I'm actually going to bring it, I made 4 of these then. One for each wheel. I made them for painting purposes, so I could put each wheel on a stand. I'll put them on a mobile base at work, and that way I could roll them into the booth, paint one, roll it out, paint the next one, etc., etc. But then once I got them built, I got to thinking I'll actually bring one to the sandblaster guy too. That way he can put it right up in on here like this now, and it'd make it life easier for him sandblasting too. Blast a spoke, rotate it, blast a spoke, so on and so on. So yeah, and it's plenty stable enough for what it's doing. It's just a temporary thing anyway. It doesn't have to be, great forever. As long as it's good enough to blast them and paint them, and they'll get thrown away anyway. So yeah, that's one more project ready to go. It didn't cost anything because it was all reclaimed lumber from pallets and skids and cover sheets from work and just garbage. And the steel tubing was just a scrap of junk I had picked up from the dump, so that didn't cost me anything. So it's kind of nice, to do these projects. Obviously, I'm spending oodles of money on the tractor itself. It's not as if I, can't buy materials, but it's nice to scrounge stuff and use stuff that doesn't cost anything. That much more money I can put into the important stuff like the tractor parts. Because I'm far from a rich man. I'm just a working Joe like everybody else. So I was also working on some sandblaster cabinet stuff. I'll go home and I'll show you that stuff. We'll work on that project a little bit here too. So yeah. I guess I also straightened out a few spokes in these wheels. Well, all the wheels for that matter, but they're all looking pretty decent now. I don't notice any bent ones anymore. Just take a big maul and give them a little whack here and there, and they actually straighten out pretty easy. So that'll be good. Everything will look pretty nice. Okay, I better give you guys an update of what I've been doing here. Got a bunch of stuff done on the sandblaster here. I got the new plastic protector. I just got a bulk roll of it from McMaster-Carr and a roll of double stick tape. Made my own whatever you want to call it, protector. Stuck it on the glass there, so that's ready to go. I had these out. I put a roll of gasket material behind these to make that better than what it was. I put the new gloves on, so that's ready to go. I switched around that fitting and pointed it out with a gasket behind it. This is where the dust collector will hook up. I actually ordered up a dust collector system designed just for sandblasting booths. Hopefully that'll be here sometime this week. I don't have an estimated arrival date on that, but I would assume sometime this week. Once we get that, then I can figure out how to hook that up. I also have to make a baffle for over the exhaust, because that's what a lot of the people do, and you get a better result that way. It slows the air down a little bit. You know, pretend this was the exhaust. This is actually the intake. The air comes in through the hole here, but pretend this was the exhaust. The air slows down a little bit as it goes up and out, so then some of the media ends up falling back down instead of getting all sucked right out the hole if you just hook up the vacuum directly to it. So we'll have to find a piece of scrap sheet metal and bend up a little baffle for that yet. I put new gasket material around there, and I ended up putting a second layer on this part of the door because it wasn't sealing up quite tight with one layer. I probably should have went with a thicker gasket material, but next time around I guess I can do that. This seems to be sealing up pretty good. I got the original drain plugged back up, and I got a new hole drilled in the bottom to accept my new media regulator that I made up here. There's about a zillion videos on YouTube on how to make these media regulators, and everybody does them a little bit different, so I'm not going to go into a bunch of details, but that'll go up in that hole like that. And then, so you got a drain on the bottom to drain your media out, and then this is where your sand hooks up to your blasting gun. And then you have a little petcock here that you can open a little bit to allow a little bit of air so the sand flows through better, I guess. It regulates it, so you can adjust that to get the right flow of sand. It's a better system than sticking in the tube in the bottom of the blast cabinet that the stock, cabinets come with. You can buy this whole thing as a bought-in thing, but it's a lot more expensive than just making it up yourself. A lot of this stuff was actually garbage I had sitting around anyway. I only had to buy just a couple of the fittings, so it didn't cost me much at all. I had to come up with either a bushing or a second nut, though, before I put this on the cabinet, because obviously this pipe nipple, you can't tighten the nut all the way down to the fitting because it's, pipe taps both ways, so it gets big in the middle, so you can only go so far. So I'll have to either get a second nut or find a, like I said, a bushing of some sort to fill in the gap to tighten up to the bottom of the cabinet. I don't have either of them at the moment, so I can't quite finish that. What else? It pretty much covers the blast cabinet. So we're getting close to being able to use it. Then it's just a matter of drilling a few holes down inside for the hose to come up through and the air line to come up through up to the bottom of the cabinet. We should be able to try this out and hopefully it works. We'll see if the gun's any good. We might end up having to get a new gun too, because I haven't even tried it yet, but we're hoping that it works at least for a while and can always upgrade in the future. So I haven't been doing a lot of other videoing this weekend, mainly because I haven't had a lot to show you guys. I've been doing a lot of behind the scenes stuff. I've been, for example, researching throwout bearings, and I finally found one of them. I hope got it ordered up, so that'll be here. I think next Friday is supposed to come, so we can move ahead a little bit on the clutch project. I think I got a throwout bearing figured out. I'll have to make it up to Napa one of these days and see what they have there. I got a few surprises here this week in the mail. we'll maybe get to that next week. I'll just keep that a surprise for now. But I got one more puzzle piece taken care of, let's just say that. You'll have to stay tuned for more information there. I've been keeping in contact with Norm. He's been still working on getting engine work done and steering box done and clutch parts done. So he's making progress there. The plan is still, hopefully, while I'm home back in Wisconsin over Christmas break, it will run down to his place, and hopefully he'll be done with all that. We can pick all that stuff up. Is still hopefully the plan there. So then we'll have lots of stuff to work on over the winter. That's coming along. My friend David Dickmeyer is working on making up patterns for the steering post casting part, whatever you want to call it, the part that the steering wheel shaft goes through, and your clutch and shifting linkage goes on, and your throttle control linkage goes on. The part, if you remember, if you've been watching the videos here, that mine was broken, and so he's borrowed it and using it as a pattern to get a few casts because he needed one too. He's been working on that out at his place. So there you go. With any luck, sometime this winter he'll have that done. Maybe even by Christmas time or something, you know, because he's getting close to having a pattern ready. So there's a lot of things in the works, but not really much to show you lately. I ordered up the paint on Friday, my red paint for the wheels, because I think I told you that I'm going to get the wheels blasted this coming weekend sometime. And then they'll be basically ready to paint. I'll bring them in to work and use the paint booth at work on the weekend, over the Thanksgiving weekend, to hopefully get all the wheels painted. And then we can put them back on the tractor. I won't have all the lugs painted and sector gears painted yet because they need to be sandblasted. And those I'll wait until my sandblasting booth is functioning so I can do them myself. So I'll probably get, because I'll get all the wheels done this first go around, and then I'll wait until I get all my other wheel red stuff ready, and we'll do a second batch of red paint with all the bolts and hardware and lugs and sector gears and hubcaps, all the other miscellaneous little red stuff. And then we should be done with red paint. Well, with the exception of road bands for the wheels. Still haven't quite figured out what I'm going to do with them yet. I got a few ideas kicking around. I may have come up with a solution for the rear sulky wheels. I'm going to ponder that a little bit more here yet, but I think I got an idea figured out there. So there again, we're making progress there. It's just a lot of, like I said, lately there's been a lot of behind the scenes stuff. It seems like these things kind of go in spurts. Like, you know, I got all the green stuff painted, and then we got a whole bunch of stuff put together, and we were making progress like crazy. And it feels like these last few weeks has kind of been just slow, tedious working on stuff. But that's kind of how these things go. There again, we'll get the red stuff painted, and we'll get the wheels on, and it'll look like we got a whole lot done, and it'll probably slow down again. So, but we're making forward progress, and that's all that matters. So it's appreciate you guys, all my viewers that watch this. Be sure to tell your friends about this. If you know other guys that like this thing, it'd be great to grow this channel a little bit more. If you haven't subscribed already, make sure you subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything. It's free, and it helps me grow the channel. Because until I get to a certain amount of subscribers, I can't even pursue getting the channel monetized or anything. So, you know, I don't make any money off of anything. If you get to a certain point, you get a few bucks thrown back your way for advertisements and whatnot. That's how YouTube works. I'm not in this to be a YouTube star by any means. I'm just putting this information out there for so other
people can hopefully learn from my restoration here, because there just isn't a ton of 612 information out there. Basically wasn't any, so that's why I decided to do this whole thing when I started, to document this whole process and kind of show people what the whole restoration thing is, because a lot of people have no idea how much work it really is, and what you really have to go through to do a thorough restoration, not just throw some paint on it and call it good, but I mean a full, thorough, mechanical, everything gone through restoration, as well as the cosmetic restoration in this case. So I thank you all for watching. I will catch you all next week probably. Have a good weekend. See you later.